All right, guys, welcome back. So this better be the last cabinet video. I didn't expect this to end up being 4 videos, but here we are on the kitchen cabinet video part 4. So, picking up pretty much where the last video left off. The only thing is I did make these 2 cabinet doors here that go under the stairs and installed them. They still need to be painted, of course, but I'm waiting until I get a little bit more done. So the focus of this video is going to be getting the drawer boxes built and installed. And I'm going to show a little bit about that, but I don't really want this to be a how-to video because I'm definitely not a cabinet builder, even though I've built several sets of cabinets. I'll show you how I do it, but I don't know if that's, the proper way to do it. I know you can math your whole way through this, and just the way that the bloom slides are made, you take your drawer openings and you basically subtract, the thickness of your material, and then the depth of it is the depth of the slide, and then you build your box and then you put it on. There's a couple little things you got to think of as far as if you're going to have flush mount drawer faces or if you're going to have surface mount drawer faces. So that depends on where you mount your slides at. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and let's get to work. All right, straight away, I'll just show these doors real quick just because, they're in there and they're installed. So I do still have to paint the interior of these as well. But yeah, these are pretty much done. So nice. Okay, on to the drawers. So I have my slides, sets of slides in there, as you can see. And these are the bloom slides that I'm using. So these are kind of the standard slides. Bloom does come with a few different levels of slides, like they have like pop open, self-locking, like most of them are slow close, but they do have other options. This one has the slow close. If you see that little piston that's popping out right there, well, it was popping out, but if you push it and then it pulls it all the way shut. So, see how it's sliding out on its own? And then when you go to close it, then it does that. Anyway, the way that the bloom slides work is they have this kind of shelf, if you look at it from this perspective. So when you're making your drawer box, you basically, the sides of your drawer stick down 1/2 of an inch and they go over this shelf. So it sits onto that. And then the clips, the undermount clips, go into this end here and they lock in. And then when you're removing it, the clips have a little paddle you squeeze and then you can pull the drawer off. And then on the back side, I think I showed this previously, there's like a little tab here that goes into the back of your drawer. So that's the basics of the slides, the way that they work. As far as the mounting, what I was saying, for if you do flush mount, which is what I'm going to do, if you're doing surface mount where the door face, the drawer face is out on the cabinets, then this would get mounted flush like that. If you're doing flush like what I'm doing, then this would get mounted 3/4 of an inch back, or whatever the thickness of your material is. If you're using 1/2 inch, 5/8, 3/4, whatever it is. Also, the slides come in different sizes too, depending on your material. So I'm using 3/4 inch material, so these are 3/4 inch size slides. I believe they come in 1/2, 5/8, and 3/4, something like that. So enough explanation. I'm going to start getting these installed, and then I'll go on to the next step. All right, so I have the slides mounted, and basically what I did is I just took a scrap piece of my material, which is the 3/4 inch, and I put it on the edge. I pushed the slide until this was flush, and then I mounted it. So as you can see, there's lots of holes to mount. I typically, on slides this size, I'll put one in the back, one in the middle, one in the front. And I think that's probably pretty standard. But you use one of these, which is called a VIX bit, VIX. I think I've mentioned these before in my videos. But this is basically a self-centering pilot hole drill. So it fits into, they come in different sizes, but it fits into this hole and it centers it, and then it's spring loaded. So if you drill, and then if you look in there, if I can get the camera right, there's a pilot hole drilled in there. So then you just screw your screw in. And like I said, they come in different sizes depending on what you're doing, but those work great for this application. So where I go from here, which is probably not the standard way, like I said, there is a formula for, you do your drawer width, space width, cabinet space width, and then you subtract the material or something along those lines. But what I generally do, just because I like to have hard measurements, is I'll pull my slides out once they're installed, and then I just measure across. So here, let's say, is 18 and, I don't know, 5/16 looks like. So that's my measurement for my drawer sides. And I'll usually add like an 1/8 inch, roughly. As long as you're close to that, then you should be good. So I'll take my measurements across these, and then those will be my measurements for the width of my drawers. And then the drawer boxes themselves, since these are 21-inch slides, will be 21-inch deep. And that's outside dimensions, not inside. So as you're building your box, it's 21 inches deep, or whatever the size is of the slides you have. So now I can head up to the shop and start working on boxes. All right, back up in my messy shop. I figure I'm not even gonna bother cleaning this up until I'm done with all the cabinet stuff, because it's just gonna come right back. So I'm focusing on the drawer closest to the fridge and the drawer under the stove. The small drawer, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to, I don't think I'm gonna be able to use these bloom slides, because the clips, which are these right here, if you look at the, whoops, that's had two of the same side. But if you put these together, so this is what goes in underneath your door, your drawer, and these are flipped, of course, because this is the bottom. So this is 5 inches roughly, and that is about the minimum that you could do, because otherwise they're going to be touching. And I think that this drawer, I'll have to double check. I wasn't sure when I was down there what the size of these clips were. So I may not be able to use the bloom slides for that drawer. I may have to do something else. So for now, I'm not going to bother with that drawer. I'm focusing on the other two. And it ended up that both of those drawers are the same size. So they were both 18 3/8 wide on top of the slides. One drawer is going to be 7 inches tall. One's going to be 5 inches tall. 7-inch tall one is the one under the stove, because it's a bit deeper. So basically, when you're making your boxes, what you do is you have your front piece, which this will be the front of your drawer. This is what your drawer face will attach to. That is your 18 3/8 measurement cut piece in my case. So whatever your slide width is, that's what that front piece will be cut to. And then your side pieces are whatever your slide is. So I have 21-inch slides, so I make 21-inch side pieces. And the way that you put these together is you do pocket hole screws on the front. They go into the sides. So the sides will wrap on this. Let me get to that stage and then I'll be back. So one thing that I forgot to mention before putting them together with the pocket screws is you need to cut slots in them. So this is a 3/4 inch slot, and it is about 5/16 deep. So that's because I'm using 3/4 inch plywood. So when I cut the bottoms for this, it'll, fits in there just like that. And you want to do this on both sides and the front, obviously. So this is going to end up being the front of that drawer. Let me put these together and then I'll explain it better. All right, so I have them together now. But you see what I'm talking about, where the groove is all on the bottom. So the next step on this is, since I did 5/16, that's basically a 1/4 inch on each side, right? So I take my 18 3/8 measurement, which was this front board, and then I add a 1/2 inch. So that's a 1/4 inch for each side. That'll give me my width of the piece that slides in here. And then for the depth of it, you basically measure from here to here, and then you add a 1/4 inch for this channel. So I'll have to measure that out, and then I'll get these pieces cut and get them slid in. So I meant to mention how I did this, cut the grooves in there. There's a couple of ways that you can do it. You could do it on a table saw, where you set the height of your blade to what you want the depth of your channel to be, and then you put your fence at a 1/2 inch. You run your board through, you move it over, run it through, move it over, run it through, move it over, run it through until you get to the width that you want. And then you'll do all of your boards at the same time. So you'll set the fence, you'll do, in this case, my 6 boards I would have ran through. And then you move it, cut it, move it, cut it until you get to there. The other way that you can do it is with a router, which is what I did. So I basically took my palm router, I put it in my vise. I have this guide on here that I set to a 1/2 inch from a 1/2 inch away from this edge. And then I set the height of this at 5/16. And then I turned it on and I basically put my board on here and I ran it across just like you would on a router table. I don't have a router table. I actually do have a router table somewhere, but I don't have the router that fits in it anymore because the router died. But anyway, this is what I did. So let me get back to cutting these pieces. All right, so now the bottoms are in, basically just slid into place. So you see how they fit in there. You want to make sure that it goes down into the front piece so that this is flush there. Your locks that you use, they get mounted in here, this little cavity. That's why you do the 1/2 inch relief. So that gets screwed in there on both sides, just like that. And then that's what locks into the rails. So the last piece of the puzzle is I need to make 2 more pieces that are 18 3/8, which is the interior dimensions of this front board. It'll be the same for the back board. The difference with this one is it's going to sit on top of this baseboard. So it only needs to be as tall as this space here. And the reasoning behind that is if you ever need to replace this bottom, you can still slide this out and then put a new piece in. Even with the locks and everything on, you still should be able to slide this piece out. So you don't ever glue this piece in. When this back piece gets made, it gets put on with pocket screws just like the front. On the back side, obviously, because you don't want them on the inside of the drawer. And then beyond that, the only thing that's left is to do edge banding on all this, because this will all be the top of the drawer. Basically, when you open the drawer, you'll see all these edges. So let me get the back pieces made. All right, backs are on. The very last thing that you want to do is from the bottom of the drawer into the back that I just put on, you use a countersink pilot like this. So that basically drills a pilot hole and countersinks all in one shot. And then you put 2 screws into the back. So that's what locks the bottom in. Since the bottom's not glued, that's what locks the bottom in so it doesn't go anywhere. So now these are done. I'm going to put the locks in and then take them down and test fit them. Okay, the last thing that I forgot about. Still need to drill holes in the back where the tabs on the slides will go into. So basically all you do is you put your drawer on there, you push it in like you're going to click it into place, and you'll get little marks on the back. So that's the mark from the tab. And then you just drill a hole in that spot and then put your drawer back in. So these are ready to go in now, as soon as I drill that one. All right, so the drawers are in place. The next step is putting the face on. And of course, have to put edge banding on the tops, all these tops that show. And the way that you put the faceplate on is or the way that I usually do it is I'll get a couple pieces of double-sided tape and I'll put something on the bottom as a spacer, and then you set your drawer face on it, make sure that it's centered, and then you just push it against it, and then you pull the drawer out, and then you put in your screws from the inside. So just about done. All right, so moving along. I have the edge banding done on these, as you can see, all done. And I put about 3 coats of lacquer on this. So that's pretty much done. This one's done as well. Have the edge banding on, so now I can attach these drawer faces, which I didn't bring my screw gun down, so I'll do that in a minute. But what I did do is I pulled the fridge out of here, and I'm starting to work on this cabinet up above. And basically all I did so far is I just made a 90, just trying to get my measurements figured out. And again, this is definitely not your typical way of doing cabinets, I guess. So I gotta go grab my level, make sure that this is gonna be correct. Once this cabinet gets built over here, there will be a piece that goes in between these to fill the gap. But right now, I did it to where it's pretty much right in line with the edge of the countertop. So, but like I said, I gotta grab my level, make sure that everything's right. All right, so I have this one set up. I got a couple small pieces of double-sided tape on there, the black squares. And I have my square sitting on the bottom. And then basically all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this on here. I'm gonna make sure it's centered left and right, and then push it into there. And then pull it out, and then screw it in from the inside. So let me go ahead and do that. I can't do that while I'm holding the phone. All right, so you see the drawer face is stuck on there now, and basically all you do is just do a couple screws from the inside. 2 should be sufficient. You could do 3 if you want to, but I'll probably do 3, 1 on each end, and I'll do 1 right where the handle is, just so it's very sturdy, I guess. All right, back up in the shop, and I'm basically just making this kind of piece by piece. This is definitely not your standard way of making cabinets. So my first 2 pieces that I had down in the Ohana, I got the angle on this piece when I had everything clamped up in place, as well as this piece. So these are attached now to this base. I just cut this piece and I did a little dog ear. So that'll go past this, and then I'll cut that flush. And then this will get attached, and then I can figure out my top piece, what that's gonna be. So moving forward. All right, so this cabinet is done. I have just the back left to put on. This one was lots of fun angles. This is the back, obviously. That's the front with the little corner piece there. So yeah, I just got to put the back on, and then of course make a door, but I'll probably install this before I make a door, and I'm gonna have to paint it before I install it. So yeah, keep going. Yeah, back in the Ohana, and I got the first coat of paint. So this is the cabinet, which is upside down and sideways. This is actually the bottom. That's the stair stringer there. So that's the door. I already made the door for it as well. The hinges are already installed, drilled and installed on there. And then I have the 2 other doors from under the stairs that I have painted as well. So I'll probably do 1 more coat, maybe 2 coats on this in the morning. And then we'll get that installed. So I just got the final coat on. It's the next morning. One trick if you're installing stuff like this, if you have some magnets, you can find out where your studs are. So that's where I'll attach on the ceiling. There's a stud there, and then in the wall. So you just use magnets so you find your screws, your drywall screws, and then I can draw a line, and then I'll have my line all the way across to know where it is. But you can see the line right there. That's actually the outside of my cabinet. So where this is technically right on the inside wall of my cabinet, which is perfect. And then this one, I'm going to actually mount a 2x4 in here. So when I made this cabinet, I spaced the back in. So see how there's a hollow here? That's so I could put a 2x4 on the wall, and then I could mount, well, it would actually be, this is the actual bottom, but that way I can mount the 2x4, mount the 2x4 to the wall, and then mount the cabinet to the 2x4. So once this dries, I'll get all this back in. All right. All these cabinet doors are painted and installed. All the drawers are done, minus that one little one, of course. And this cabinet is now installed. I even already have junk in there. That's just the stuff that was on top of the fridge. And yes, I remade this door. The other door, when I installed it, for whatever reason, there's like a 1/4-inch gap here. So that was just too much. So I had to remake it. So I will have to repaint this, of course. And as of right now, I don't think I'm gonna bother working on this cabinet just because it's not really necessary at the moment. I will get it done eventually, probably wait till the countertop's installed, like I said. So I'm gonna wrap up this video, and like the title said, this is gonna be my last my last video. Not my last video ever. I'm not gonna do build videos anymore because I don't have the time. Nobody's watching. I know there's like a dozen of you, or maybe even 17 that watch regularly, and I appreciate you watching. But just looking at my numbers, I mean, the YouTube thing was never really meant to be like, I never had the intention of being a YouTuber or whatever. But at the same time, I have a lot of stuff to do, and making these videos does take time, and setting up and doing shots and editing and whatever, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm not gonna do any more build videos on the Ohana, because I'm honestly, I'm tired of working on it. I just want the thing to be done. It's been so long now, and it's very close. I'll probably do a video when I do the water system, just because I think somebody could find that useful. And then once everything's done, I'll probably do like a reveal video or something. But other than that, Ohana videos are done. Yeah, I just need to get this thing finished, and it will be done hopefully soon. Today is August 4th. I think today's August 4th, maybe August 5th. I don't know what day it is. Anyway, I'm shooting for the end of August. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. So we'll see. If not, definitely in September time, it will be finished. There are other things that need to be done. Obviously, I still need to do this stuff here that we're going to do there. There's a lot of touch-up paint. I still have to do caulking on all of the baseboards. I have to build the railings out on the lanai. I have the posts and the top rails done, but I have to do the you know, I can't just have the railings open like that, how they are. You know, finish the railing on the stairs, finish the stairs. Yeah, there's a lot of little things that I don't even care to film, and I don't have time to film, so. And anyway, my channel is probably going to be changing anyway. I'm going to be, as this gets finished and I'm focusing more on getting my blacksmithing business going, these videos are I'm going to start doing blacksmithing videos. So probably will be very few build videos going forward anyway. And if I do, I'll probably wait until whatever it is finished, and then I'll just release, you know, a set of videos of the process. Because there are other projects that are going to be happening down the road. We do plan on building another house. Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. But anyway, a hui ho. I will see you guys on the next video, whenever that may be. And I want to say thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and aloha.